Hey everyone, thanks for coming back. Of course, back here with AJ. We're going to do a more exciting video, really an intro to Track IQ. Go over, really what the company is, the ideal customers, the big picture, and potentially some other fun stuff. We're going to keep this one short. It's going to be a little bit longer than an elevator pitch, but not too much longer. First things first, AJ, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. No complaints. New Year's starting off with a bang. We're moving quick. I know when people are seeing this, there'll probably be a new stimulus plan in the U.S. and we'll see what's happening. But here, I guess let's hop into it. If someone came to you and said simply, what is Track IQ? What do you say?
Well, we are a global technology company. Our primary focus is three things. We help identify customers, we facilitate transactions, and we do fulfillment and delivery. If you look at the current gig economy companies, we have our food, medicines, everything brought to us. Over the course of the last few years, people have essentially built a whole economy around gigs, jobs, projects, and that's what we are all about. That's what we facilitate.
Yeah, I mean the industry's been blowing up for anyone. I remember when really Fiverr kind of was the first one. Now you've got Upwork, Fiverr, all these different developments, and I'm sure I don't have the stats right beside me, but do you have any numbers you want to throw to people with how fast that industry's been growing?
It is. I mean, the fact of the matter is the smallest number you'll find in this space is about $6 billion, and that's a huge number in itself. Ultimately, it depends on which aspect you look at, right? The first is an analytics problem, which is who's my customer, right? My customer bought red pants yesterday. Can I sell him blue shirts today? Right? I mean, the whole analytics world is so huge. You look at companies like Snowflake that do data warehousing, and they'll parse your data, tell you what's happening. There's companies like DataWeave who are specialty software for retail. Amazing stuff. Each of these mini segments is billions of dollars. The second is the actual transaction. Look at the commerce piece, right? Do I store my money in a wallet? Do I store my loyalty points in the wallet? What do I do? And the third, the one that most people are familiar with, is the fulfillment part, right? Somebody's going to come deliver my shirts and my food and my medicine. Again, multiple billion-dollar segments in there. So our focus right now, number one, is the software solution. We provide a suite of software called TraqiQ that helps us do these three primary things. And that in itself is just the very tight software piece is over $6 billion.
All right. Well, there you go. That's a good little intro. Here, gonna ask, and we'll probably circle it back to things you've done and things the company's done. But I want to talk about the ideal client. A lot of people obviously look at Track IQ with like what's your go-to client? What do you guys look for? What do people approach you about when want you to do?
So what happens is if you look at when Uber came around and Lyft came around, they were just looking at transportation. Very simple. They were helping people get from place A to place B. Now, if I look at TraqiQ in the same way, anybody and everybody who wants to set up a business leveraging the gig economy. So if you wanted to set up Jason's flower shop and say, well, I'm going to get, gig workers to deliver my flowers all over the city, you can come in, you pay us a couple of bucks a month. It's a classic SaaS model. And, you build out your fleet of workers and they essentially do deliveries for you. So you don't have to go build, the software. You don't have to build the authentication. You don't have to build the verification engine. One of the unique things we ended up doing during the pandemic, where we have to keep distance, people can't come down from their condo. We actually have video verification also built in. So there's all kinds of cool, unique things that we've done. However, the part that's the most amazing is, number one, anybody can build a network, a delivery system using our software. So my ideal customer typically falls into two or three categories. We have a lot of banks who are using our software and our delivery service for getting documents to their customers or getting the documents back. We have a couple of customers who collect payments, collection agencies. They actually collect cash in markets where cash is king. And again, that's where the verification, geotagging, all those little doohickeys really make a material difference. The third and final is one of the acquisitions we're making is a classic food delivery company. Right? So it's a very broad cross section, but basically any business that wants to leverage their gig economy.
Yeah. No, interesting. I'm gonna keep teasing you for more examples. You gave the flower shop one. You got picking up cash. Do you want to kind of walk through maybe I don't know how specific you want to get, but give people like another. I guess you come in. Hey, you already said you want to be your own type of Uber, your own skip the dishes or DoorDash. Do you want to kind of just walk through kind of that process from you guys onboard them, you build this out, and you already mentioned they don't have to worry about a lot of these things. You already have the solution ready there to be implemented. But do you want to just walk through an example?
Right. I'll talk about a company out of Zambia right now that's using our the middle piece, the transaction and the fintech piece, if you may. These guys want to be the PayPal of Zambia, and they want to have a repository for money, so multiple types of wallets. They want to have the settlement engine, so at the end of the day, the money is all straightened out. We are the power behind their entire service, 100%, right? So depending on which segment we look at, there are a whole suite of folks that are working with us. So clearly, fintech is our big moniker. That's the one area we talk about the most, because ultimately, even in delivery systems, right, when you go deliver flowers or medicine or bread, there's money changing hands, and we actually spend the bulk of our time building those financial tools so that people can really keep track of money, make sure there's no fraud, verification, this and that and the other. So that's why we get classified as a fintech company. The third and last point I'll make is on the very front end, identifying the customers. We're working right now deploying our solution with a couple of casinos. Right? What do they want? They want to see, does this person work with slot machines on the tables? Right? So the analytics, again, get to know your customer. Core, very, very fundamental analytics. Know your customer, do the transaction, and then go deliver. So we have a very broad cross section. I talked about casinos. We've talked about
Yeah.
the PayPal equivalent. We've talked about the Uber Lyft equivalent. So it's a very broad cross section. But answering your question one last time, we see a lot of traction with banking and financial institutions because they touch money, they touch transactions every which way.
Yeah. No, look, awesome. I know you guys do so much, and I know there's going to be questions. If you have an example, your question, drop it below. We'll try and run through what could be an example. If it's, how would you maybe do something for this industry? There might be little fun exercises to do going forward. Question for you, how do you find clients, or do they find you at this point? You mentioned obviously the banking and financial world is really interested. Do you guys do a bunch of outreach to banks? Just curious for the people that might be interesting on, of course, bringing in additional clients to the company. How are you guys finding them?
That's always a hard situation. I've been customer facing for a long, long time personally across multiple assignments. The part that I like in our current generation of doing business is that a lot of the stuff actually happens electronically. You need to have smart people working social media so that our solution presents itself to somebody when they're searching for something. So somebody's looking for a delivery system. I'll give you an example of one of the largest distribution companies for tech in the world. It's a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. They were looking for a solution in an overseas market for managing their service personnel. They've got thousands of people repairing computers, printers, and this and that and the other. And they're like, we in the old days the product was field force management. But in today's world, which is so gig oriented, you're hiring contractors and they're going everywhere and you're trying to verify this, that, and the other. They came across our stuff and gave us a call, right? So people do tend to find us a lot. We don't have very many, expensive enterprise class salespeople. We are a small, very agile team that works directly with these large accounts. We are very, very, very easy to reach. People go to the website and send us a note.
Yeah. No, awesome. So again, hey, if you're watching this and you've got a business that could potentially use some help, anything AJ's mentioned, definitely reach out through the website. So that's awesome. Really, back to the business stuff. I want to ask, like, what's your big vision for the company? Obviously, to have tons of clients and you're doing well and you're providing this whole gig economy solution to people. But how would you describe your big vision and what your big goal is at the end of the day?
So gig economy, if I could provide you the answer in a couple of bullets, if I may, because we can wordsmith it appropriately if you want. The first word is, the gig economy. You're leveraging a massive amount of manpower that needs to be utilized better. The second is core fintech solutions that are much needed. The third leg of that stool is emerging markets. So in more mature markets, these things have been out there and people are, I've been using Uber for a while and Lyft. My son works for Lyft. However, in emerging markets, that is not the case. That is not the case. So the opportunity for us, the opportunity for TraqiQ, for our company and our partners and our customers and our employees, is to really leverage the billions of people who are living outside the larger mature markets. Really leverage this concept, run 100 miles an hour and get this deployed in emerging markets where the opportunity is huge. These are countries that are looking to leapfrog technology, multiple generations. We have customers in Colombia. We do a lot of business over there. Infrastructure is very poor. There's a lot of people who don't have bank accounts, right? So we are talking to a couple of customers who want to use our back-end infrastructure and cloud-based offering to launch multiple products that allow people to have a card. These are
Yeah.
people who don't have a bank account. So we're targeting the unbanked. So emerging markets is one. The gig economy is number two. And fast, easy to use fintech tools.